Hey guys, so I basically binge watched 13 Reasons Why. You probably did too, especially if you clicked on this video. And I was pretty disappointed at the end. I know a lot of people liked it. I don't know, maybe I just couldn't relate. I would say that I had the normal problems of being a teenager and growing up dealing with all of these issues, but I kind of have to agree with some of the critics that are saying that this glorified suicide. And basically, I just wanted to talk about why I didn't like it. Maybe you guys loved it, and hey, that's okay. It's just a TV show. There's nothing too crazy about this. You can have your own opinion if you liked it or didn't like it. Life will go on. So this is basically just what I took away from the show and what I guess didn't like about it. Now, first of all, I do want to say that I thought the show was really entertaining. It was pretty suspenseful. The storytelling, I really enjoyed all of that. I like stuff with flashbacks where you're like, oh, what really happened? What's gonna happen? I really liked the way that they did this. The storytelling of it, the directing, I thought was really good. But I felt like it was a big letdown at the end. It was so much building up and the end was just not satisfying to me. So first character I want to mention, which I think was everyone's, favorite, a lot of people I know did like, is Cliff. Cliff was great. He was really sweet. He was the only character in the show that was not guilty of something. That's how I felt. And I felt like the show tried to make him partially guilty for what Hannah did. And it was so upsetting. That just wasn't right. He was a nice person. He tried to do what she wanted. And even if that wasn't what she actually wanted, that's not something that he was trying to be malicious about like some of the other characters actually were. He wanted to do the right thing and he was a good character. And a character I felt really bad for. He just was in so much pain and mourning after she died, and one of the only people that really did care. Now, Justin's another character that really stood out to me, a character that I really felt for. His home situation was awful. He was a person that was exposed to abuse at a very young age and therefore kind of molded by that. And I think that was partially why he wasn't able to stop Bryce from, what he did. And the fact that Bryce also did overpower him, which is one of the times I was the angriest with Hannah, is when she was so critical of Justin, yet she did nothing. Justin actually went and tried to do something and he was torn up about it. And Hannah was, just watched and judged Justin for all of it. So that was annoying and upsetting to me. Now, the character Bryce, I thought was such a total cliche. That was a character that I was just kind of you couldn't come up with something a little bit more original, the guy with all the money is the one that's date raping girls or whatever. Now, another character that stood out I thought was Alex, and I felt, maybe this is just me, seeing too much into something or taking it the wrong way, but I felt that they tried to make Alex's dad seem like a kind of bad bully parent because he was a cop. Now, maybe that's just, social stuff getting into my head a little bit too much recently, but did anybody else feel that way? That Alex's dad was some sort of shadowy character because he was a cop and had a gun? I just felt like that's the way the show made it feel, so that it was kind of like Alex had this sort of scary home life. And I actually felt that his dad was really nice to him, that he talked to him nicely, and he was one of the only parents that actually did talk to his kid. Some of the girls' parents would talk to them, but not in an actually trying to relate to what your kid is doing type of way. Now, Tony, I felt, was an unrealistic character. I felt like he was supposed to come across as this really wise character, and yet a wise character would have immediately taken those tapes to the authorities and had the right people prosecuted for what they did, because there are some really bad people in the tapes. Whereas not all the people in the tapes were that bad. Let's talk about the guy who, what was his name? I can't even remember his name at this point. But he was the one that published Hannah's poem in that magazine for the school. It probably was kind of a jerk thing to do, and it wasn't very nice. It wasn't what she wanted. But he published it because he wanted her to see that her work was good and that other people would like it. And he just wanted her to get out there, put herself out there. But he didn't put her name. And she was so upset about it. And it's kind of like, it's okay to be upset about that. Like, you know, that betrayed my trust. I didn't want you to do that. But to like actually be like, oh, I was so upset about it. This is one of the 13 reasons why I killed myself. That was too much. Too much. Now, the stop sign story was probably where I was just like, really? Like, really? Maybe I was the wrong audience. You know, maybe this is a teenage audience and I might have felt differently about the whole 13 Reasons Why series if I had watched it as a teenager. That could be possible. But the stop sign story was just like so unrealistic, and she put so much blame on that girl when really, like, she hit a stop sign. The guy who was driving and all of those people, it's a small town. They're driving through there every day. Like, you know where stop signs are. Like, think about when you're driving around the neighborhood in your house, okay? You know where stop signs are. So just because somebody hits the stop sign and it's out doesn't mean you're going to get in a accident where you get killed. And two, I mean, like, it was a little neighborhood. Like, how fast are people supposed to be going? Like 30 miles an hour? It's just so unrealistic. I mean, around here, sometimes people, like, hit the street lights and knock them down, and nobody, you know, gets killed after because they weren't paying attention to it. And lastly, Hannah's character. Oh, Hannah's character. You know, I think maybe this entire series would have been different for me if there had been a narrator that wasn't Hannah. If she actually understood her whole life and everything that happened in that good of detail, then don't you think she would have been mature enough to seek out help? And everything just revolving around the suicide of that case. You know, I think people that are suicidal, it's because of depression and because of mental health issues that are going on. It can be increased by the circumstances surrounding you, but there are people who have perfect lives, who have money, who have everything, and they still kill themselves. Because at the end of the day, suicide is because of mental illness. And I just did not like Hannah's character. She did not take any responsibility for her actions. She blamed everyone else. Every other character was somehow responsible for every decision that she made in her life, which is completely wrong, and the reason that I disliked this series the most. Because if this is meant for teenagers, then you're teaching teenagers that it's okay to blame everyone else around you. Yeah, you're not responsible for your actions, just blame them on other people. That's, to me, what this series was about. Now, of course, there's bad people in this world, and there's things that happen to people that they're not responsible for, bad things that happen to them. But at a certain point, you do have to take responsibility for what comes into your life. And I think the worst moment was when Hannah knew someone was a rapist. She knew that that was a bad person, that that was a guy that raped people. And she decided to go to a party at his house. At some point, you just have to have some common sense. Now, that doesn't make what Bryce did any less bad or okay in the slightest, okay? He's a terrible person. What he did was absolutely horrible, unforgivable. He should be punished. I hope he is. It's just a show, but I was hoping that at the end he would be, and that didn't play out. But anyways, he's still bad. But she should have taken some responsibility and been like, hey, I'm not going to go to a party at his house because he's a rapist. And it's just, I think we need to teach girls that, is that there are bad people. So sometimes you can do all the right things and something bad can still happen to you. But you need to realize that there's bad people out there and take some responsibility for your actions and think about what you're doing and try to keep yourself safe. Now, I felt bad for what happened to Hannah. Like I said, Bryce is still a bad person, but I think I would have had more empathy towards the character, and just the whole scene would have meant more if it had been somebody she trusted. And I think that that would have been more common, because often girls that are victims of sexual abuse and rape, it's by somebody that they trust. And so if Bryce had been this person that she trusted, or maybe didn't even know that well, but was like, you know, I can go to this friend's party, I know these people, and then that happened to her, I think that would have been a lot better for the story. Just a lot more empathy towards it, and just would have flowed through everything better. But to actually know somebody's a rapist and to still put yourself where you can be their victim, I just was more upset than feeling bad for her. And like I said, I think it just would be a lot more relatable to other women if it was somebody that she had have trusted. So basically, I disliked 13 Reasons Why. I think it puts out a bad message to young people. I get what it was trying to do. Bring up topics to talk about with young people, parents with their teenagers, try to get parents to understand what's going on in teenagers' lives a little bit more. But I think it was just, you know, everybody loses friends. Okay, we all have a friend that we trusted or was close to, and some sort of fight or issue comes up and they're not our friend anymore. And that's kind of, you know, what happened to Hannah. But it happens to everybody. And it was just too dramatic, I think. I really did see Hannah as somebody who was just after attention. One of the things I also really disliked about Hannah was that she was really mean to nice people. That's how I felt. I felt like to people she knew were not good people and were, you know, just mean people, she kind of kissed up to them. She tried to be their friend. She tried to talk to them more. But people who were actually nice, like for example Cliff, she encouraged him to stop wearing a helmet when he was riding his bike. And yet she's, you know, blaming everyone else in her life for causing her harm. And making up nicknames like Helmet to a guy like that isn't nice. I mean, even the guy from Yearbook, who did turn out to be a stalker and was pretty weird, she wasn't really nice to him to start off with. And then one of the guys that actually tried to be her friend, she was extremely rude to. Anyways, let me know in the comments if you guys liked the show or not, if you found anything that I said relatable, or if you just think I'm full of BS, that's okay too. I would also really love it if you subscribe to this channel. I'm gonna be putting out videos about, you know, different things, talking like this, rambling about shows that I watch, doing some tutorials on, you know, cosplay guns, things like that. So hope you guys stick around, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!